The Arcturus station hummed with the low vibration of 1,000 different species, conducting their daily business. Rowan adjusted his worn jacket as he navigated through the crowded marketplace, his human eyes scanning the colorful displays of exotic goods from across the galaxy. Being one of only 15 humans on a station of 50,000 aliens made him perpetually aware of the stares he attracted. He stopped at a food stall, eyeing something that resembled purple fruit, when he felt a gentle tug on his sleeve. Rowan looked down to find a small alien child staring up at him with enormous lavender eyes. She couldn't have been more than the equivalent of 6 human years, her scaled skin shimmering with an iridescent quality that reminded him of oil on water. "Hello there," Rowan said softly, kneeling to her level. The universal translator embedded in his collar kicked in seamlessly. The child glanced around nervously, her delicate antennae twitching. When she spoke, her voice was barely audible, a whisper that made Rowan lean closer. "My mother wants to meet you, human." Before Rowan could respond, the child grabbed his hand with surprising strength and began pulling him through the crowd. He had learned in his 3 years on Arcturus that curiosity often led to the most remarkable discoveries, so he followed without protest. They wound through narrow corridors he'd never explored, past sections of the station that grew quieter and more utilitarian. The child, he still didn't know her name, never let go of his hand, her grip almost desperate. Finally, she stopped before a door that hissed open to reveal a small medical bay. Inside, lying on a bio bed surrounded by archaic-looking equipment, was an adult of the child's species. The woman's scales had lost their luster, and her breathing came in shallow gasps. "Mama," the child whispered, rushing to her side. The woman's eyes opened, focusing on Rowan with effort. "Human," she said, her voice crackling. "Thank you for coming. I am Zhyra. This is my daughter, Lyra." Rowan approached slowly. "I'm Rowan. What's wrong? Can I help somehow?" Zhyra's laugh was bitter. "The station doctors have given up. My species. We are not wealthy, not important. The medicine I need costs more credits than I will earn in 5 lifetimes." She paused, struggling for breath. "But I have heard stories about humans. Impossible stories." "What kind of stories?" Rowan asked, though he suspected he knew that humans don't give up, that they perform miracles with scraps, that they, she coughed, and Lyra whimpered, that they care, even for strangers. Rowan felt the weight of expectation settle on his shoulders. He looked at the medical equipment. It was at least a century old by galactic standards. The diagnostic display showed a cellular degradation typical of Zhyra's species when exposed to certain radiation wavelengths. "Treatable, but only with expensive nanotherapy. Let me see what I can do," Rowan said, pulling up a chair. For the next 6 hours, Rowan worked. He called in favors from Jenny, another human who worked in the station's engineering section. She arrived within 20 minutes, took one look at the situation, and rolled up her sleeves without a word. "Typical," Jenny muttered with a slight smile. "Leave it to a human to adopt an alien family before lunch." Together, they scavenged parts from the station's recycling centers. Jenny reprogrammed a decommissioned mining drone's molecular manipulators. Rowan synthesized a crude version of the nanite solution using chemistry knowledge he'd picked up from humanities. Early space colonization texts, the kind of improvisation that had kept the first human colony ships running when everything went wrong. The other species on the station had their advanced technology, their vast empires, their genetic perfections. But humans had something different: the stubborn refusal to accept impossible as an answer, and the creativity born from having to do more with less for their entire history. As dawn broke over Arcturus Station's artificial horizon, Rowan administered the treatment. It wasn't perfect. Zhyra would need follow-up care, and the solution was temporary rather than permanent. But her breathing steadied. Color returned to her scales. Lyra watched with wide eyes as her mother sat up for the first time in weeks. "How?" Zhyra whispered. "The doctors said." "The doctors were working within their systems," Jenny interrupted, wiping grease from her hands. "Humans learned a long time ago that systems can be beaten if you're willing to think sideways." Rowan smiled tiredly. "We'll need to set up a schedule for ongoing treatments until we can get you the real cure." I know a Teal'Kari merchant who owes me a favor, might be able to negotiate the price. Down on the proper Nanets, Zhiara's eyes filled with tears that sparkled like diamonds. Why? Why would you do this for us? We are nothing to you, strangers, not even the same species. Rowan looked at Lyra, who had finally relaxed her grip on her mother's hand, then back at Zhiara. On Earth, we have a saying, there but for the grace of fortune go I. It means that could be me in that bed, could be my daughter scared and alone. Helping isn't about calculating worth. It's about recognizing that we're all just trying to survive in this vast universe. Jenny nodded. Besides, humans learn survival by sticking together when things got tough. Old habit hard to break. 3 months later, Zhiara stood in the marketplace, fully recovered, selling traditional crafts from her homeworld. Lyra helped her, chattering excitedly at customers. When Rowan passed by, the child rushed over and hugged him tightly. Thank you, she whispered, no longer in fear, but in joy. Rowan knelt down and smiled. You're welcome, little one. Take care of your mother. As he walked away, he heard Jara speaking to a curious Kelvin trader, asking about her recovery. A human saved my life, she said with pride in her voice. They are a strange species, weak compared to many, with no natural advantages. But they have something rare in this galaxy. They care, and they never, ever give up. Word spread through Arcturus Station, as it always did. The story of the humans who saved a dying alien with nothing but spare parts, outdated knowledge, and sheer determination. It was added to the growing legend that followed humanity through the stars, not of conquerors or warriors, but of a species that brought hope to the hopeless. And in the quiet of his quarters that night, Rowan allowed himself a small smile. Humanity might not have the most advanced technology or the strongest military, but they had something just as powerful: the unshakable belief that every life mattered, and the ingenuity to back up that belief with action. That, he thought, was worth more than all the credits in the galaxy.